Jeffrey Dahmer, one of the most notorious serial killers of modern history. After being sentenced to 16 life sentences, one of his inmates proved to be his demise.
The city of Lucifer has been uncovered, but what's most astonishing is that people actually live there, and it's not hell. In Revelation chapter 2 verse 13, Jesus reveals Satan. Let's carefully heed Jesus' words. I know where you live, a place where Satan dwells. Moreover, it was in this very place that his faithful witness Antipas gave up his spirit. He died, burned in a bronze statue in Geneva, Switzerland. And you'll never guess what's happening right now in Geneva. This city is home to an organization called CERN, whose logo bears an astonishing resemblance to the number 666. Its aim is to develop a groundbreaking machine that bridges the natural with the supernatural. Recently, they've made a significant discovery known as the God particle, a subatomic particle that could hold the key to understanding the universe. This finding has not only intrigued the scientific community, but also ignited further questions and debate about the nature of our existence and the fundamental principles that govern our world. The connections between the ancient prophecy and modern science are becoming eerily clear. What lies ahead could change our understanding.
This is what happened to 12-year-old Melissa Chavez and how they tried to cover up her murder with a fire. Melissa Chavez was born in 2008 in Coquimbo, Chile to her mother Mirta and her father Dennis. She was the youngest of four, and she's described as being a very shy, quiet, and reserved child. She didn't really like to go out much. One of her favorite activities was to stay home, go in her room, put her headphones on, and just listen to music. She didn't have that many friends, but was really kind and just a happy little girl. Shortly after Melissa was born, her parents ended up getting a divorce, so now Mirta was a single mother. In order to make ends meet, she got a job working at a local bar called La Chilenita. And while she was working there, she met a man named Luis Santander. Now, Luis was actually in a relationship at the time, so he had a girlfriend, but he decided to leave his girlfriend so he could start dating Mirta, who was 8 years older than him. The two of them started dating, and then in 2010, they decided to take the next step and move in together. Eventually got married, and Mirta got pregnant and gave birth to a baby boy. Now, as for Melissa, her older siblings were already gone. They had moved out and, started their own lives. So now Melissa was just living with her mother Mirta, her new stepfather Luis, and then her new half-brother. Everything seemed to be going well, but when Melissa was just 6 years old, she told one of her older sisters that her new stepfather Luis was essaying her. Not only did she tell her sister about this, but she also told her school counselor, and that both of them reported this immediately to her mother Mirta. Now, at first, it honestly seemed like Mirta did believe her daughter. She actually went to the police station and she reported this. However, she later withdrew the report and said that she no longer believed Melissa and that she felt like her daughter was doing this for attention and that she was lying. Yeah, she said this about a 6-year-old little girl reporting her stepfather for essaying her. So even though she withdrew the statement, police still wanted to go through with the investigation because, these are very serious allegations. So they opened an investigation, and in the meantime, they removed Melissa from Mirta's care. This investigation went on for almost 2 years, and the only reason that Melissa was placed back in the custody of her mother Mirta because Mirta told the authorities that she was going to divorce Luis and that he was no longer going to live in the house or be a part of their lives. She told police, it's perfectly safe for Melissa to come back to the house because Luis is no longer going to be there. And authorities and CPS just believed her. They didn't do an investigation to make sure that Mirta was going to divorce him. They didn't go check the house to make sure Luis was no longer there. Nothing. They just believed Mirta, and then they returned Melissa into her custody. Luis was still part of their lives. He was still living in the house, and instead of protecting her daughter, she chose this man. November 26, 2020, at around 11:21 in the morning, firefighters and police arrived to Melissa's home after neighbors reported the house on fire. Firefighters went up to the second floor, and when they walked into Melissa's bedroom, they discovered her lying on the top bunk of her bed. First, firefighters believed that she was due to suffocation from all of the smoke. However, when they got a better view of her body, they realized she didn't because of the fire. They discovered that she had severe wounds to her neck, face, and her body, and that someone tried to cover up with arson. Okay, more in part 2. This is part 2 on what happened to 12-year-old Melissa Chavez and how they tried to cover up her with arson. Firefighters discovered that she was actually stabbed to death before the fire even started, and whoever had done this had tried to cover up the murder with arson. Melissa was the only person inside the house during the fire, so where was everyone else? Well, police were able to get surveillance footage from a neighbor, and it captured Luis, Melissa's stepfather, and her half-brother leaving the home at around 10:30 in the morning. Then, shortly after, at around 11:15 in the morning, you can see the mother Mirta leaving the home. Then, firefighters and police were called at around 11:21 in the morning. So what happened in those 6 minutes? So police went to go speak to Mirta and Luis about this, and they defended themselves. They did interviews where they were crying, saying that they couldn't believe that this had happened and that they had nothing to do with this and that they honestly thought a stranger had done this. Someone was watching the house and waited for everyone to leave, and when they finally saw Mirta leaving, that's when they decided to go inside the house, Melissa, and then set the house into flames. They were asking for justice, and they wanted whoever had done this to be caught and punished. Police asked Luis, where did you and your son go at 10:30 in the morning? And Luis says that he took his son to his school to get vaccinated. Then they asked Mirta, where did you go at 11:15 in the morning? And she says that she went to the dentist. That morning, she asked Melissa, can you go to the dentist with me? And that Melissa said no, that she wanted to stay home because she was going to go stop by a friend's house later that day to give her a birthday present. So Mirta decided to go to the dentist by herself. Mirta says that she truly believes that when she walked into Melissa's room to ask her if she wanted to go to the dentist, that the was inside the room hiding. However, police didn't really believe this. Forensics determined that the fire had started 30 minutes before Mirta even left the house, which means that Mirta was literally inside the home when the fire started. Autopsy was also returned, and it determined that Melissa had a blow to the head and that she had 11. The pathologist says that Melissa could have been saved. If police were called in that moment, they probably could have saved her. However, whoever killed Melissa left her there for over an hour before the house was lit on fire. Again, if Melissa was over an hour before the fire even started, that means that Mirta was still inside the house. How did Mirta not hear someone come inside the house, go upstairs, brutally attack her daughter, and then start lighting the house on fire? Besides revealing that she had a blow, it was also revealed that Melissa was essayed just 6 hours before her death. This poor 12-year-old girl went through so much before she was. With all this evidence, police arrested Mirta and they charged her with parricide and arson. And they also arrested Melissa's stepfather, Luis, for repeated R-wording and essaying Melissa. In the end, Mirta was sentenced to 33 years in prison, while Luis was only sentenced to 10 years. The motive as to why people believe that Mirta did this was out of jealousy for her daughter. Allegedly, she was jealous that her husband, Luis, was giving Melissa more attention than to her. Now, while most people do believe that Mirta did do this, there are some people that have doubt. And the reason for this is because the day of Melissa's death, neighbors saw a man walking on the roof near the family's house wearing overalls and a gas mask. However, this man has never been found, but a lot of people find it suspicious. What are the odds that a man was wearing a gas mask near the house before it was lit on fire? So some people think that maybe this guy did it, or others believe, maybe Mirta hired this guy to do it. What happened to Melissa just breaks my heart. She was only 12 years old, and she tried to ask for help and she reported the abuse, but nothing was done about it. It's unfortunate that she was sent back to live in this home where she continued to get abused, and she was ultimately murdered.
This case is very disturbing because, as you could tell, she's being taken advantage of by the people who are supposed to be protecting her. Take the mother's word for it and don't even really do a deeper investigation. There's nothing really more she could have done. She was just around some horrible people. But if you guys know anybody going through this, make sure you try your best to be there for them and protect them, because a lot of this stuff goes on in the world.
This is the funniest premise for a horror movie I've ever seen. It's called Tammy and the T-Rex. And it's all about this girl whose boyfriend gets put into a coma, and then a crazy scientist who made this animatronic T-Rex takes the guy's brain and puts it in the T-Rex animatronic. The boyfriend T-Rex then has to use charades to explain to his girlfriend that he is a dinosaur animatronic now. And it's truly hilarious. It's hysterical. The dinosaur boyfriend also goes on a mass spree in this movie, seeking revenge for the people who put him in the coma in the first place. They even had a scene where the T-Rex animatronic, as the boyfriend, goes to his own funeral, and he's watching his funeral from a distance, just as a giant T-Rex.
Where is Cleopatra's missing tomb? For 2,000 years, Cleopatra's tomb remained a baffling mystery lost in the Egyptian sands. In 2022, archaeologist Kathleen Martinez made a groundbreaking find: a 1,300-meter secret tunnel located 13 meters beneath an Osiris temple in Taposiris Magna. The excavation yielded stone heads of Cleopatra and coins bearing her likeness. Legend tells of Cleopatra's identification with the goddess Isis, desiring to reenact the tale of Isis and Osiris with her lover Mark Antony, making this location a fitting resting place before her death. Cleopatra had famously proclaimed that her tomb would elude discovery by any man, potentially explaining why the tunnels remained hidden until Kathleen Martinez's remarkable breakthrough. While standing on the brink of revealing one of history's most notorious lost tombs, curiosity lingers among many. The prospect of uncovering the secrets of an ancient queen whose legacy continues to...
Honestly, the Earth has been around for a long time, and I would not be surprised if there's a bunch of ancient artifacts out there that we have either been found and just kept secret from us, or just haven't been found yet. A lot of crazy stuff going on in this world, but you guys let me know what you think.
This is part 2 on what happened to 8-year-old Cherish Periwinkle and how she was taken from a Walmart by this man. So they all get inside the van and they start driving to Walmart, which is about 10 minutes away, and as they're driving, Donald asks Rain how old she is and how old her children are. Tells him their age, and then she asks Donald, "Where's your wife? Like, are you sure she's meeting us at Walmart?" And he says, "Yes, don't worry, she'll be there soon." 10 minutes later, they make it to the Walmart and Rain starts shopping. Now remember, she thinks that she's getting $150 from Donald's wife, so she just starts adding things to the cart. Now while she's shopping, Cherish and the girls are kind of playing around, and Donald is just standing there watching them. He wasn't really shopping for himself, but at one point, he did end up adding something to the cart that Rain had. And what he added was rope. That was it, just some rope. They continue shopping, and at one point, Donald asks Rain if he can take Cherish to the dressing room. And Rain agrees. She agrees to let this man that she does not know take her girl to the dressing room by themselves. So Donald and Cherish go to the dressing room, and he brings Cherish these really high heels. These heels were obviously for a grown woman, and Cherish wanted to try them on, but that's when Rain saw that he was giving her these heels, and she said no, that these heels were inappropriate and that she wouldn't even wear these type of heels herself. After that, they continue shopping, and Donald takes Cherish to the dressing room once again. At this point, Donald's wife has still not shown up. Rain starts to get worried about this, so she asks Donald, "Where's your wife? Like, is she actually coming?" And once again, Donald calms her down and says, "Yes, she will be here soon." 10:25 p.m. rolls around, and that's when Walmart makes an announcement saying that they're going to be closing soon. At this point, Rain realizes that it's getting late and that she hasn't fed her daughter's dinner yet. There was a McDonald's inside the Walmart, and Donald sees this and tells Rain, "Why don't we just eat McDonald's? It's inside the store, it's cheap, and the kids will love it." He even tells Rain, "I'll go with Cherish to get the McDonald's while you continue shopping, and then we'll all meet up and eat together." And Rain agrees to this plan. She lets Donald go with her daughter to McDonald's. Now granted, the McDonald's was inside the store, so it's not like they had to physically leave, but still, she let this man just walk off with her daughter by themselves. Cherish and Donald start walking in the direction of the McDonald's, but instead of going inside, they just walk past it. You can see them on footage, leaving the Walmart and getting inside Donald's wife. 20 minutes later, Rain is ready to check out, but she realizes that Donald and Cherish are still not back, and remember, he's supposed to give her the $150 gift card. So she starts looking for Donald and Cherish, but they're nowhere to be found. She heads over to the McDonald's area and sees that the McDonald's was actually closed. That means that Donald and Cherish never made it there. Runs out to the parking lot, and she asks someone to call 911. Police put out the word that they're looking for a white van, and the next day at 9 a.m., this white van is spotted driving along the highway. Police pull it over, and in the driver's seat is Donald Smith. However, Cherish is nowhere to be found. Now, Donald's lower half was soaking wet, so they figured that maybe he left in a body of water. And they were right. Cherish is found underwater, weighted down by bricks and debris under a tree in a creek. She had been R-worded and with a rope, presumably the same rope that Donald had bought. In the end, Donald Smith was sentenced. In the trial, it was revealed that Donald was a convicted offender and had crimes dating all the way back to the 70s. He also tried to blame Cherish for her and said, "Oh, well, she followed me to the I had to kill her." What he did is truly disturbing, and he never even had a wife in the first place. As for the mother, Rain, a lot of people blame her for what happened to her 8-year-old daughter. They blame her for being too trusting and for letting Donald go to the room with Cherish and for letting her walk away by themselves. This is just such a heartbreaking case, and my thoughts and prayers go out to Cherish's family. Please be careful who you let around your kids, and you can just never be too trusting.
Honestly, I don't know why things like this take place. There's a lot of sick people out there doing a lot of sick things. I don't care who people appear to be or seem to be. Make sure you take care of your loved ones and pay attention, because things like this are very real and they can happen. You can't be trusting of strangers.
Now, when I show you this picture, I don't want you to freak out. This is a real image taken by the James Webb Space Telescope, and astronomers aren't entirely sure what this question mark shaped object is. Now, judging based on its shape and color, it appears to be a really distant galaxy, or even multiple galaxies colliding with one another. It is believed that this is the first time that this object has ever been imaged, and it was actually captured in the background of a really beautiful JWST image. While we aren't completely sure what the object is, there is one thing that's for certain. There are still so many questions about the universe left to be answered.
Everyone is in reality already. It's said that when a person dies, their brain continues to live for 7 long minutes. During this time, the brain recreates memories, playing them back in a dreamlike state. In this way, The individual sees their entire life flash before their eyes. Time moves differently when we're awake compared to when we're dreaming. So 7 minutes might feel like 7 minutes, or they might feel like a century. Stephen Hawking has said that when we discover the God particle, or the Higgs boson as some call it, the world could end in one day. And in 2012 we found it. What if the world really did end in 2012? What if it happened in an instant? And since then we've all been living within our own consciousness. Perhaps that's why, since the year 2012, the world seems increasingly strange, both real and absurd. The lines between reality and illusion have blurred. We must question everything we know, for we may be living in a world of our own creation. Do you believe this theory? Share your thoughts in the comments.
Is this proof that skinwalkers actually exist? On January 26, 2018, Carl Huxley comes home from work to find his front door kicked in and his wife Darlene Huxley. And as much as it looks like an case, this is really where the story begins. Well, you see, even though the Huxleys seemed like they had it all, neighbors knew that was far from the truth. To support their lifestyle, Carl Huxley was often overseas for trips, and due to that, a lonely Darlene Huxley was often seen having other men over at the house. It seemed like there was no trace of where Darlene went, and even the manhunt issued by police turned up with nothing. However, it was only when the neighbors suggested they check the Ring camera when they saw this disturbing footage. Further investigations later revealed that Darlene was flirting with a man named John Walker on Facebook Messenger, but a closer search revealed that John Walker didn't exist. So, was John Walker a skinwalker? And
the biggest things that were ever stolen. A beach. In July 2008, a beach in Jamaica was stolen. Thieves arrived in the dark of night, excavating hundreds of tons of sand from a remote Jamaican beach. The beach before, Amphid is the beach after. An estimated 500 dump truck loads of sand were removed. The white sand was worth approximately $1 million on the black market.
Disturbing kids' toys that got banned.
He does say some phrases, though, that toddlers probably shouldn't be hearing. Here's what Elmo is supposed to say.
Let's try and use the pen.
But several books came with this sound instead. Elmo laughs, ha ha ha, and then he says, "Who wants to die?"
This is why you really got to pay attention to the stuff that your kid is consuming, because obviously it wasn't a lot of these books that were doing that, but it was a small few, and you never know what your children could be exposed to. So y'all be safe out there.
This is the saddest villain backstory.
Which one?
His original name was Waylon Jones. When he was born, he had a rare medical condition where his body was covered in scales. He was constantly bullied and rejected by others. He met a girl named Emma, and they quickly became best friends. But it didn't last long. They went missing in their town. They went to a nearby swamp and found him. Suddenly, a crocodile jumped out and attacked them, and Emma in Waylon's arms. Everyone blamed him for the death of his only friend. This caused him to lose his humanity, taking on a new persona called Croc.
What was Iraq really hiding? Wait a second. If you comment Thai, you will unlock a TikTok secret emoji. There exists a theory that the United States remained in Iraq for over 10 years after its liberation, not for oil, but for something far more powerful. In the 1920s, a British explorer discovered what was rumored to be the world's oldest known Stargate, located at the site now known as the Great Ziggurat. Breaking news. Click on share, then on WhatsApp, and the second person that appears is your crush. In the 1980s, Saddam Hussein fortified the ancient complex to prevent explorers from seeing what was hidden there, or so the government claimed. Additionally, strange ancient technologies have been spotted outside the Great Ziggurat. Rumors suggest that they originate from an ancient civilization that lives on the hidden planet Nibiru, accessed through the Stargate. Hold on. No person in the comments will have 0 likes. Recently, many individuals have come forward claiming to have participated in classified programs in Iraq, where Stargate technology was used, and many people are asking questions.
If you know, you know. Why do you think in the recent years all the phones have switched to facial recognition technology? Have you seen this?
Okay, infrared lens on the camera. Boom, there was one.
It's taking pictures.
2. So
why do you think it's doing that when the phone is already unlocked? Is it building a more detailed facial profile? Keeping track of facial expressions? Analyzing the eye's point of focus during screen time? Now, why would they need that information?
They're constantly monitored by facial recognition cameras that are able to instantly put a face to a name. Now, the Chinese are also ranked, given a mark out of a possible 950 points. The score in the 700s is considered good. Around the 500 mark is not.
Wait, haven't I seen that somewhere? Black Mirror?
I see there's one standby seat on another plane leaving tonight. You gotta be a 4.2 or over to qualify.
Oh, I'm a 4.2.
I'm afraid you're actually a 4.183.
Science fiction become reality? Is this where we're headed?
The mother in question here was not able to get in, and that's because facial recognition software used by Madison Square Garden Entertainment, which operates this venue, ID'd her as a lawyer for a firm they're currently in litigation with.
When you are out grocery shopping, you may not realize what is watching you.
Some supermarkets are using facial recognition technology to catch thieves.
Okay. It's tracking everybody's face. This is not okay. This should not be legal.
So is our future a social credit score that is tracked by a network of cameras using facial recognition software?
Oh, why aren't we talking about the creepy legend of Smile Cat? I love cats just as much as I love my dog. But Smile Cat is another story. Smile Cat is a creature that is said to, when you look into its eyes, it's said to reveal how you will be unalive, as well as driving you mad. Once it actually happens to you, you don't get unalived right away. You go into an endless loop of that same cycle over and over. Now, for this to even happen, you have to get visited by Smile Cat. Smile Cat will visit you once you see the haunted photo. The only way to stop this is to share the photo to someone else in less than 24 hours. But just in case it doesn't work, you have to remember, if you see a cat smiling without its eyes closed, it's not a normal cat. Run. Abby and her friends was messing around with the photos of Smile Cat, and all of her friends shared the photo except for Abby. When she got back home, Smile Cat was there waiting for her. What do you guys think about Smile Cat? Let me know in the comments.
Obviously, these are all just myths and rumors, but I used to see a lot of things like this. I remember people in my school would send some picture around. It would have some creepy backstory saying if you didn't send this to like 15 friends, then this person's gonna come get you. I don't like to believe in any of that, or I like to stay away from any of that because I'm good. Y'all just be safe out there, whether this is real or not.
Selfies that were taken right before death, Part 1. In 2014, Oscar Reyes participated in the Selfie Olympics and took a photo of himself hanging from his bathroom door. A few seconds later, he slipped and fell, hitting on the toilet and died. Boss. Andrew Macaulay attempted to be the first man to kayak from Australia to New Zealand. He took this selfie and texted his family that he would be home soon, but just 30 miles away from the finish line. In 2011, 3 teens in Utah took this selfie together on the train tracks. It appears to be a happy, ordinary photo, but the glare on the right side of the screen is from the train that runs into just a few seconds later.
Honestly, it's crazy because you never know what could happen to you and you never know when it could be over, so that's why I gotta be grateful for every moment, every day, because you know you're not guaranteed tomorrow. A lot of these pictures have eerie stories behind them and crazy, but y'all be safe out there.
This is why you should never explore caves. In 2010, a man named Jeff, who really loved to explore caves, took a plane down to Madagascar. There was a huge, super cool cave that he had explored a few years back, so he wanted to check it out again. About half of the cave was at an angle going down. This part of the cave was over 150 feet long and just 3 feet wide. And after climbing through that, there was a tunnel that dropped straight down over 50 feet to the bottom. Once down there, there would be a small area to walk around in with some light. Things were going great for Jeff until he reached the drop. He began to hear things around him, so he turned on his light. And as soon as he did, he saw thousands of black widow spiders climbing on the cave walls. They were all over his clothes, skin, and gear. Having no choice, Jeff was forced to climb all the way to the bottom of the cave, grab new gear, and climb to the top. After making it to the top and brushing off several spiders, Jeff realized that he didn't get bit, and he nicknamed the spot the
I'm glad he made it out of there, but bro, if I went into a cave and there was a bunch of black widows, I mean, oh my god, I would be freaking out. Let me know what you guys are doing in this situation.
There's a legend that says that if you look at the moon for too long, you'll see a haunting face smile back at you. Now, the man in the moon has been a common saying for a very long time. Think of all the cartoons and movies that show like a cartoon face on the moon. Because the moon isn't an even surface, you can visibly see the bumps and shadows when you look at it. And for years, people have been saying that those shadows resemble a human face. But there's actually a lot of creepy stories about people who have seen the more sinister version of this face. There have been people that have reported being out on a nightly stroll looking up at the moon and seeing it blink back at them as if it was alive watching them. There was a story about a man who was camping in the middle of a forest and he got up in the middle of the night to go to the washroom. He looked up at the moon and he could have sworn it repeatedly whispered his name. He said he saw the mouth of this face moving and everything. There's this creepypasta that says that if you stare at the moon for too long trying to find this face, it will show up in your dreams at night, which seems like a pretty creepy thing to think about. Imagine just like having a nice dream and suddenly this creepy moon face pops up.
Snapchat's ever taken, part 2. We all have used Snapchat before, whether it's sending a streak or sending a selfie. If you remember yesterday's video, I talked about a user named Skinna555, but there's more to the story. A week after the Snapchat videos started to go viral, he started to feel like he was being watched in his own home. So to take his mind off things, he went to go play games on the computer until around 10:15 p.m. when he heard a loud bang. He picked up his phone and started recording and quietly made his way downstairs. Here's the unedited version of the video. You probably didn't see anything, right? Now let's turn the brightness up. There is literally a person in the corner of that room. Skinna555 ended up filing a police report and the police watched the videos and confirmed that was a person. But the weird thing is the police checked all the windows and the doors and there was never any sign of break-in. So was this a person or something much darker? Make sure to like and follow for more videos.
Most unusual deaths in human history, part 2. In 2014, a 23-year-old Indian soccer player named Peter Biak Singh Zula scored a goal and did a somersault to celebrate. However, he landed awkwardly on it and due to spinal cord injuries. A 25-year-old man named Akbar Salabiro went missing on March 25, 2017. Were found 2 weeks later inside the body of a reticulated python, meaning that this was the first case of a snake an adult human whole. Kenneth Pinion, an engineer from Washington, and 2 other men filmed and uploaded videos of Kenneth making love to a stallion under the alias Mr. Hands. In one particular video, Kenneth received fatal injuries from the horse of a perforated colon. A 28-year-old Japanese man with intellectual disabilities named Hayato Terata ran away from his living facility and into a grocery store. It was there that he ate so many donuts that he choked to death.
I mean, I'm trying to feel bad, but bro, a horse? Are you serious right now? There's 6 billion people on this earth, bro. You pick a horse, like, bro. Sometimes I'll never understand why people do the things they do, but...
North Korea might have the scariest hotel in the world. It is called the Ryong Hotel. And I know it doesn't look scary, but it has a much more sinister backstory. The building was finished in 1992, but it was windowless and hollow for 16 years. It was just a concrete building looking over the city. Kim Jong-un wanted this hotel to be the biggest and best in the world. But to this day, it is completely empty and hollow inside. It is the world's tallest unoccupied building. The Ryong is over 1,000 feet tall. The hotel finally got glass on it, but only to put LED lights on it so it lights up at night, making it even more sinister knowing that it's completely empty inside. What is North Korea planning to do with this building? And why has it been empty for almost 20 years?
This story's called Can You Hear It Now? Late one night, a little girl walks down the staircase of her house into the lounge room where her parents are sitting with a blanket over her head, scared to and says, "Can you hear it breathing?" "I can." Her parents sitting there watching TV just laugh at her and yell at her to go back to bed. Not too long later, the little girl hears her mum's curdling screams and goes back down the stairs. As she walks into the room, she sees her father's head laying on the ground, upright facing the TV. Her mother is riddled with fear, sitting straight across from her father, her hair being blown around by the breath of someone close to her. The little girl takes the blanket off her head and says, "I bet you can hear his breathing now."
is the scary story about the stare. A girl was on a subway late one night when she noticed a woman sitting across from her staring at her. The woman was sitting between two old men. The girl kept looking away, but the woman never stopped looking at her. At the next stop, a tall man in a trench coat got on the subway. The woman paid no attention to the man in the trench coat and continued to stare at the girl. The man in the trench coat then sat down next to the girl, and as the subway continued, the woman never stopped staring at the girl, and the two men that she was sitting in between never glanced in her direction. When the train pulled up to the next stop, the man in the trench coat got up to leave, but suddenly he grabbed the girl's arm and yanked her off the subway. The subway's doors closed, and the train pulled off. The girl was confused and began screaming for help, but the man in the trench coat said, "Calm down. I just saved your life. I didn't mean to scare you, but I had to get you off that train. The woman who was staring at you is dead, and the two men beside her were holding up her body."
Honestly, I don't know if this story is real or not, but I've been to New York City enough times to honestly believe that this could be true because there's so much weird stuff that be going on there. It's not even funny, bro. So who knows, but y'all be safe out there.
Mysterious videos that can't be explained. In 2003, a hotel worker was sent to check on a room. People reported hearing screams coming from the door. There wasn't anybody checked into the room, but the screaming was loud and clear. The worker bravely decided to go inside, and the screaming stopped. He reported that nobody was in there, yet the furniture was upside down and the shower was on. The carpet was even ripped. After watching security camera footage, the hotel staff noticed that as soon as the man entered the room, a shadowy figure left. If you watch closely, you'll see something exit the room. And as the figure left the room, the lights next to the door began to flicker, leaving everybody wondering who or what was in that room screaming.
Jeffrey Dahmer, one of the most notorious serial of modern history. After being sentenced to 16 life sentences, he was sent to a maximum security prison. His first year, he seemed to be on a path to redemption. He was even baptized and became a born-again Christian, but one of his inmates proved to be his demise. The first attack came from a fellow prisoner who tried to slash his neck, but he survived. A few months later, Dahmer was found bleeding on the bathroom floor. He suffered multiple blows to the head from a metal bar, and he died at the hospital later that day. The attacker was another prisoner, and according to New York Post, the killer said that he killed him because of the persona he played to make everyone fear him.
It's really insane to know that people like this existed on the planet. Like, I know there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on, but the amount of damage and pain this guy has caused in people's lives and in the world is absolutely insane, disgusting. I don't know how these people even came to exist.
Why you should never deliver a pizza at midnight. A pizza delivery man was driving late at night to drop off 4 pizzas at a faraway house. When he arrived, there were no cars parked anywhere and there were no lights on. He called his boss to see if he had the right address, and he told him to just knock on the door anyway. He waited for a few minutes and was about to turn around, but then he turned to his left and saw someone staring directly at him through the window. He dropped the pizzas and ran back to his car to drive away. As he was driving, he heard a screeching noise coming from his car, and then it came to a complete stop. All 4 of his tires had been slashed, so he called the police and they told him to stay in the car with his doors locked. He scanned his windows and then he looked up at his rearview mirror and saw something flash. He turned around and this is what he saw. A creepy woman in the dark staring directly at him with her eyes wide open and a broken smile slowly growing across her face.
Here are some creepy Polaroid photos that a girl found on the ground while walking home from school. There were apparently about 20 photos bundled up with a rubber band, and so out of curiosity she started looking through them as she walked the rest of the way home. The first image depicts the vague shape of a pale-skinned man against a dark forest background. The second photo apparently shows the man but slightly closer to the unknown photographer, and each photo showed the man slowly getting closer and closer to the camera. In this image, the man's face was suddenly much closer. His expression was the purest embodiment of evil the girl had ever seen. Then she had one last photo in her hands. When she peered down at it, the man was not visible in this photo. Instead, there were scrawled just 2 words in a bloody red smear. The girl's brother apparently heard her screaming outside of his door. When he ran out, his sister. All that he found was a stack of Polaroid pictures on the porch, and upon closer inspection, it seemed the girl in the photos looked exactly like his sister.
Mysterious videos that can't be explained. In 2014, 28-year-old Lars Mittank decided to go to Bulgaria with some of his friends. Everything was going normally, until Lars began to experience ear pain after going to a soccer game. Turns out he ruptured his eardrum, and the doctor told him to not fly home with his friends and to wait a couple days for his ear to heal. And that is when he began to act strange. He texted his mom and told her that he was in danger. He said that 4 men were after him and that his mom should cancel his credit card. Luckily, he stayed safe until he got to the airport to leave. Security cam footage shows Lars walking in. He casually walks through the airport with his luggage, nothing unordinary. But minutes later, he sprints out of the airport as if someone's chasing him, and he has none of his bags. He then hops the fence and runs into the woods. To this day, nobody knows what happened to Lars Mittank. Nobody knows who or what made him run out of that airport. And after 6 years, we may never find out.
Obviously, it seems like he was going through some sort of thing that we just don't understand, because a lot of people got their own things going on. That just leaves us with a big mystery as to where he went and why he did what he did, but I guess we will never know. So guys, be safe out there.
I had a dream I couldn't escape. I was running through a dark forest, chasing me. I reach an intersection and I have to choose to turn right or turn left. But left has John Wayne Gracie waiting for me. Gracie was an American serial killer and is the killer clown. He murdered at least 33 young men and boys, regularly performing in hospitals and charitable events. He went by the names Pogo the Clown or Patches the Clown. He'd bring his back to his house where he'd handcuffed them as he performed his clown act, and then all night and them before dawn. He would then under his family home. But to turn right, I would sure encounter Ted Bundy. Bundy too over 30 women. He would approach his victims in a public place, making out he was injured or impersonating an authority figure before unconscious. He strangled most, but at least 12 he didn't keep their head in his apartment. Help me, which way do I go? What would you do?
Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I know I've been gone for a couple days, but I'm back, and I'm back with the daily uploads. So make sure you let me know the scariest part of this video made you tremble in your boots, and we're going to be on to the next one. Thank you.